Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are here with Austin from Ohio, and today is Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. Well, I want to direct your attention to this here, and I have not found this until 2 days ago. No one's really talking about it, but this is something, especially now, that needs to be seriously talked about. So, have people been wondering why all these plants are just burning up, calling it a coincidence? Are people wondering why food prices are skyrocketing, why a lot of things now can't be bought, certain shelves aren't stocked? Started in late 2020. Well, really, it started when all this stuff started, this operation that we call the Great Reset. Take a look at this. This is from the Rockefeller Foundation, and this is what we in the truth community call hard evidence. And I have the actual PDF. I'm going to go through it. I also have the Rockefeller's webpage. I'll show you that real quick. Okay, so here I am, RockefellerFoundation.org. And the reason I'm not reading from this one is because, well, you download the PDF here and you have to go through the whole report. I will link this, of course, so you guys can do it, so you can go through. But actually, you know what? I will read this one. Straight from the horse's mouth, right? Again, this is what we in the community call hard evidence. So those people that go around saying, conspiracy theory. Well, here's your conspiracy, but it's not a theory. Never has been, never will be. America faces a hunger and nutrition crisis unlike any this country has seen in generations. Today, 14 million children are missing meals on a regular basis, a statistic that's 5 times worse than before the C-19 situation. So they're admitting that it's 5 times worse than before the C-19 situation, that they, World Economic Forum, Rockefeller Foundation, top players, they forced it upon all of us. I mean, we have the book, COVID-19, The Great Reset, by Klaus Schwab. It's even worse for Latino and Black families, which have seen rates of nutrition insecurity spike to 25 and 30% respectively. In many ways, C-19 has boiled over long simmering problems plaguing America's food system. What began as a public health crisis fueled an economic crisis, leaving, ready for it, 33, as in 33 degrees of Freemasonry? Yeah, always. Of families unable to afford the amount or quality of food they want. School closures put 30 million students at risk of losing the meals they need to learn and thrive. What C-19 has revealed. The images of the past few months have been both shocking and heartbreaking. Families out of work and newly struggling with the nutrition insecurity, waiting in long car lines for a day's or week's worth of food, school nutrition professionals wearing whatever protective equipment they or their schools could provide, putting their own health at risk to meet the rising demand for food in their communities, meat and poultry plant workers suffering disproportionate rates of C-19 infections. Let's see. Actually, I'm just going to go down here, because I want to get to something else too. Fundamental change needed in the U.S. food system. This is where their consolidation of power over food, thus power over the people, comes into play, right? This is why all the plants are being burned down. This is why all these things are happening. Over the past few months, the Rockefeller Foundation gathered a diverse group of more than 100 experts, from farmers and food industry leaders to social justice, health, environmental, and nutrition security advocates. Together, we explored not just how to meet this moment, but also how to transform the U.S. food system over the long term to more effectively promote healthy people and a healthy planet. Isn't that what they said when they introduced GMOs? But GMOs have caused so many different types of disease, led to so many different types of cancer, did not solve any of the world's food problems. It was just a way for them to get their poison out to the masses of people. right? And here's a little diagram they have here. I told you guys I will link this for you. But this is part of the New World Order. This is what we have been warning about. They're coming after the food. They're coming after the food. They're coming after the food. In the book, COVID-19, The Great Reset, Klaus Schwab talks about the food. In their whole, what's that called? With the huge, it's before the book came out. It was on the World Economic Forum site, and it was a huge diagram of like all the interconnected points of this new system and all of that, and what they needed to achieve, and this and that. They've had this plan for a while. This isn't just because some disease came and it created all these problems. Like, no. They even said before C-19 that C-19 would be, well, before they called it C-19, they said it would be the catalyst that they need to, forward a lot of agendas that they had beforehand. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Working together, we have opportunity and the obligation to transform the U.S. food system to make it more efficient, equitable, healthy, and resilient, both in good times and bad. Accomplishing this objective will require 3 significant shifts. So they're talking about major shifts in the food system, right? They're consolidating it all into the power of the world government. They will be the only ones who decide who gets to eat and who does not. We are useless eaters to them. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that that's what they refer to us as. So you think these people that call us useless eaters, do you think that they just all of a sudden care about your food well-being and how much food you have? No. They're doing this so they can control the entire world's population, what will be left of it, of course. Okay, shift 1. More integrated nutrition security system. Oh, gee. Immediate actions we need to take. Strengthen nutrition benefit programs to ensure children and families are fed. Invest public and private funding in school food programs as anchors of community feeding. Expand food is medicine. Huh. So if you really look at this and you really understand what this means behind all the, feel-good words and this and that, this is how would they strengthen nutrition benefit programs to ensure children and families are fed? The answer always is government intervention, extreme government oversight. Invest public and private funding in school food programs as anchors of community feeding. Again. And this third one, expand food is medicine. Reinvigorated regional systems. Oh, kind of like reinvigorated multilateralism. When they talk about consolidating all the countries into one single government. We went over that on this channel. Okay, immediate actions we need to take. Ensure relief and stimulus policies. Improve the resilience of supply chains and strengthen local systems. Direct the purchasing power of large institutions along values-based, equitable, ethical, sustainable supply chain. As in, look at those words, straight out of Agenda 21. This is the consolidation of power to the world government system. How else would you do this? Equitable prosperity throughout the supply chain. Immediate actions we need to take. OSHA must set and enforce mandatory guidelines to keep workers in the food supply safe. There it is. There it is. Extreme government oversight. Extreme government intervention. Provide credit, loan servicing, and debt relief for farmers and ranchers. Increase prosperity of farmers, ranchers, and fishers by more equitably distributing risk and profit. As in, take from those who do and give to those who don't. That's a form of communism. That is a form of fascism. In all of its glory, this is it. How else are you going to equitably distribute risk and profit? That's what they're going to do. Again, let me go back to my analogies. You guys know how I love my analogies. Let's say you have a loaf of bread. You made it. It's yours. You tilled the wheat. You prepared it. You baked it. You did everything. It's your loaf of bread. You can eat it all. You can throw it away. You can do whatever you want. In, a free world, you could do that. I am a communist government of some sort. I take your loaf of bread. I give you back one piece, one slice of bread. Then I say that you're terrible and you have to share your slice of bread with these 5 other people. So now you got to break your single slice of bread up into 5 parts to give to the other people for, how'd they put it, equitable distribution and risk and profit. But I have a whole loaf. This is how this thing works. They get it all and we fight over the scraps. And then there's download and read the full paper for more insights on how we can achieve a food system that is more equitable, resilient, sustainable, and nourishing for all. This is literally Agenda 2030, controlling the food. And if you can't see through that, then I can't help you. And nobody can probably help you because you're just too far gone to even realize this is what's going on. It's crazy, like just sitting here watching all of the things that we've ever talked about materialize in some form or another. And then when they come to pass, you know, people are like, no, you didn't know this was coming. Like, we literally said this. Like, whenever they go and start rounding people up and throwing them in FEMA camps, people are going to be like, you never said this was coming. They're doing this to make sure these people are safe from these mega droughts and natural disasters and all this. Come on, guys. And as always, I'm not talking to my regular listeners. You guys, you already know what's up. Talking to the people that stumbled upon this video. Come on. Do you not understand how they would achieve this? I mean, this is from the Rockefeller Foundation. This is literally from the Rockefeller Foundation. Come on. Moving on. Okay, here I am back at this. I just want to further go over what exactly that means because this is super important. We all have to eat, right? This is a major step toward their goal. Because if they control the food, they control the people, right? Okay, the Rockefeller Foundation is advocating for major changes to the U.S. food system in response to C-19. A paper recently published by the Rockefeller Foundation addresses the fragility, inequality, and shortcomings of the food system while offering a roadmap for the future. Now, mind you, these are fragilities, inequalities, and shortcomings that they have created. They've had their hand in all systems for a long time. This is one of their problem reaction solution methods in order to achieve this, well, now, consolidation of the food supply. The paper reset the table. That's what it's called too. Ain't that something? Finds that C-19's impact is far-reaching, cutting across many sectors of the food system, from healthcare to education. Current responses in these sectors are proving to be rigid and poorly constructed against something as multifaceted as C-19. With 40% of Americans unable to access $400 even in times of emergency, 37 million Americans already food insecure, the food system has been stretched to its limits as safety net programs struggled to meet historic demands. Leaders of the industry are calling upon stakeholders to rise collectively to ensure a transformative shift in current practices, policies, and systems to lay the foundation for a new, representative, and robust food system. They're literally building their world government right in front of us, and most people are still too blind to see it. The paper suggests 3 substantial shifts in the U.S. food system moving forward. 1. Integrating a nutrition security system focusing on healthy food access. 2. Reinvigorating local and regional food chain. And 3. Building more equitable prosperity throughout the supply chain. To fully recognize these shifts, the Rockefeller Foundation is also calling to strengthen a set of cross-cutting capabilities that have fallen short in the food system. Some of these include applying true cost accounting, considering direct and indirect costs of the food system, investing in better emergency response plans, and unifying actors across multiple sectors to secure a collaborative movement. And they know what this is also going to do, right? They're going to end up saying that you can't buy food unless you, well, take part in this new monetary system that they have built too. You see how they have all angles covered? They got their blockchain, digital money, new world government system ready to roll out. At the World Government Summit, They literally said, and I'm quoting, "We are about to introduce a new..." Oh wait, how did it go? Sorry. I don't want to butcher it. No. Sorry, I started in the wrong spot. Quote, "We are about to abandon the traditional system of money and introduce a new one. And it's digital blockchain," is what they were talking about. I still have that video up. It's a blonde lady talking at the World Government Summit. It's like 2-3 minutes long. It's not that far back on my channel. You can go and rewatch it. See if I'm still recording here. Okay, everything looks good. "Now is the moment," says the foundation, starting with incorporating people who represent the food system into these discussions. This includes Black, Indigenous, people of color, non-governmental organization leaders, and food system activists fighting for a more just, equitable, and resilient food system. Now, the reason they do this, they don't really care about Black and Indigenous people like they claim they do. And it's a terrible thing that they do. It's a terrible, terrible thing that they do because they are misleading so many people. This is what all governments have always done. They're doing this so that anybody that goes against it, they can label you anything they want to label you. Oh, if you're going against this, you're a racist, you're a terrorist, you're whatever. But the reality is they really don't care about that. They don't care about you, they don't care about me, they don't care about any of us. Only to further their agendas. The paper calls for federal, state, and local governments to come together to collaboratively create a new framework for a food system that emphasizes all sectors involved in the production, processing, and distribution of food. In its final section, the paper discusses how C-19 has brought to the light the fragility of a food system that does not promote healthy people or a healthy planet while disregarding many who are disproportionately affected. The piece focuses on the idea that there is optimal opportunity and obligation to fix a broken system to ensure a brighter, sustainable future for all. Again, these are problems that they have created originally in order to get to this point. Those of us in the know understand that. Now, what I'm asking is that you also understand that. People who are not in the know or who don't want to believe any of this is happening. Alright, I got one more for you guys tonight. Okay, here we are over at American Military News, and check this piece out. Oh, I almost just swallowed a June bug. It tried to fly in my mouth. That's what I get for recording outside, right? 3 reputed sovereign citizens arrested in California. Guns and explosives seized from car and compound. So, obviously, you already know what this is. This is a stab at anybody who claims to be sovereign. That's what they do. 3 alleged sovereign citizens accused of possessing firearms, ammunition, and improvised explosive devices were arrested over the weekend in desert communities. San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department said Sunday, June 19th. Time out. Accused of possessing firearms, not illegal. Ammunition, not illegal. And IEDs, which technically shouldn't be illegal because that would be covered under the second article and amendment to the United States Constitution. But, we'll go ahead and give them that one. But the possessing firearms and ammunition, they're already acting like guns are illegal. This is what they do. They start talking about something as if it's already illegal, and they don't have to go and pass any laws or this and that because the people will already believe that it's illegal. Therefore, the effect has already been done. Oh, please don't crash my recording app. On Saturday, June 18th, deputies were patrolling near the intersection of 29 Palms Highway and Old Woman Springs Road in Yucca Valley, near Joshua Tree National Park, when a deputy conducted a traffic stop on a white Ford Taurus for suspected vehicle code violations, the Sheriff's Department said in a news release. Again, vehicle code violations. That's tyranny. That is your property driving on your shared property with the rest of us. All these codes and all this stuff, and none of that should ever have been legal. You are traveling the same as it was when you were on a horse back in the day. This is what tyranny leads to. This is the length that it gets to. I'm sure people think these people are terrible. The driver, who was identified as David Russell, 46, and his passenger, Jeffrey Russell, 50, both of Johnson Valley, claimed that they were sovereign citizens to the deputies, authorities said. Sovereign citizens believe that they are not under the jurisdiction of the federal government and consider themselves exempt from U.S. law, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center. The center tracks extremist groups. Wrong. That's totally wrong. The sovereign citizens actually don't recognize the counterfeit federal government that we now have and pledge allegiance only to the Constitution and the founding principles of the United States. And they do not think that they are above U.S. law. They actually very much believe that they do fall under U.S. law, but the U.S. laws that are actually lawful and legal under the United States Constitution. So, and the Southern Poverty Law Center has been long exposed to be a New World Order organization. Bill Cooper used to do a whole bunch on them. So again, if you're considered a sovereign citizen and you know, are like us because we would be branded that, you're an extremist. Goes back to the 72 types of Americans considered terrorists. You see the bind they got us in? After a records check, it was learned that neither were allowed to own or possess firearms, authorities said. The deputies then found live ammunition, black gunpowder, and an improvised military-grade explosive device in their car, the sheriff's department said. Time out. A records check, it was learned that neither were allowed to own or possess firearms. Okay, well, why can't they give us a reason why? Where's the reason? Usually there would be a reason, like, oh, that they were felons accused of this or that. But I guarantee that it is something so stupid that nobody was ever harmed in any capacity whatsoever. Because this is the length that tyranny goes to. Okay. The explosive device was later disposed of in a safe area by the Sheriff's Department Bomb and Arson Division. The deputies then learned that additional explosives were at a property in Johnson Valley, a community north of Yucca Valley near Highway 247, and a search warrant was obtained to search it. A search was conducted at the suspect's remote sovereign citizen compound. 54-year-old Venus Mooney of Johnson Valley was found at the scene and detained. Sheriff's Department said during a search, additional military-grade explosives, ammunition, and firearms were found, authorities said. These explosives were properly disposed of by the bomb and arson team, sheriff's officials said. All three were arrested on suspicion of possession of an explosive device and possession of controlled substance while armed, authorities said. All are being held without bail, the sheriff department said. Yeah, without bail. What's the real crime here? What's the real crime? The people had defense mechanisms? Did they hurt anybody? No, didn't say that. Didn't say that they were planning anything. I mean, come on. It wasn't immediately clear if any of the suspects were represented by a lawyer. The Sheriff's Department didn't immediately say if it was known why the suspects allegedly possessed explosives. Alleged sovereign citizens intermittently come to the attention of the public officials. One, for instance, was arrested and suspect in the 2018 holy fire that raged in Orange and Riverside counties. More recently, some sovereign citizens were involved in submitting a fake election records to the National Archives in 2020, an Arizona official said. Again, where's the proof of this? Anyone with information regarding the investigation was urged to contact Deputy Carlos at communist number, 76036, whatever. Again, what's the real crime here? Just because they don't recognize the authority of a counterfeit government that doesn't follow the Constitution anyway? They do follow an authority, and it's the same authority that our founders followed. And you can do a bunch of research on the sovereign citizens. You could do research on, I'm pretty sure the guys at the Bundy Ranch are sovereign citizens. These people are usually responsible enough to, conduct themselves in a manner to where they don't need any kind of government oversight. And they're probably self-sufficient, and they probably, the sheriffs probably had a bone to pick with them. That's probably what was going on here. But the media has demonized sovereign citizens for so long, as in they've been labeling a bunch of people as sovereign citizens who weren't, and saying that they were this or that. So now people have this idea that they are some kind of like crazy terrorist group when that's surely not the case. You can watch real documentaries and stuff on them, and you can read what they actually believe. But 3 things in this article were just debunked because they weren't true. They don't believe that they're outside of U.S. law. They actually believe they are very much inside of U.S. law. The laws that are lawful and legal under the Constitution and Supreme Court. I mean, come on. It's not that hard. Guys, we're going down a dark path. We're going down a really dark path, and it's just getting worse. But as always, I will be here to report any news that comes up about any of this until I can't anymore. So, with that being said, God bless and good night.